Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and while we recently covered what to expect at Apple's September event and went over what specifically to expect with the Apple Watch Series 7, I also thought it would be a good idea to do a deep dive into the iPhone 13 and go over everything we know because, like it or not, we are just a little over 1 month away from this phone coming in and making all of our iPhone 12s obsolete. Just like using your own personal banking information and debit card number online should be obsolete, and you should try out our sponsor for this video, privacy.com, and start generating virtual card numbers for your online transactions and get $5 for free by using the code GregsGadgets when you sign up today. All right, first let's talk about the lineup, because we are expecting just as big of an iPhone lineup as last year, with Apple releasing 4 separate iPhone models, their biggest and most diverse lineup yet, and that will carry over to the iPhone 13. So there's still going to be an iPhone 13 mini, a regular sized iPhone 13, and then 2 Pro models, the same size as the regular iPhone 13, so a 6.1-inch display, and then the big iPhone 13 Pro Max with a 6.7-inch display. So even though we're confident that there's going to be 4 different iPhone models, one thing we really aren't exactly sure of right now is what are the differences going to be between these models, specifically between the regular iPhone 13 models and the iPhone 13 Pro models. However, based on what we already know about the iPhone 12 models, we can make some pretty educated guesses here with the iPhone 13 models. One of them being that the regular iPhone 13 will be made of aluminum and glass, with the back glass having a glossy finish, while the iPhone 13 Pro models will have a more premium finish with stainless steel instead of aluminum, and the back glass will have a more matte finish. We should also expect some new colors to show off that glass back, with the regular iPhone 13 probably getting a whole new shade of different colors for this year's lineup, and the iPhone 13 Pro kind of sticking with its more muted Pro colors, but it could also be getting some new different colors, including a new deep black color and possibly a new bronze orange-like color. The cameras will also be different, with Apple likely just keeping 2 cameras on the regular iPhone 13 models with a wide-angle and ultra-wide-angle camera. However, the camera arrangement is actually supposed to change this year, with the iPhone 13 having a diagonal camera placement rather than a vertical one. The iPhone 13 Pro camera arrangement will be unchanged. It will still feature 3 different lenses, a wide angle, an ultra wide angle, and a telephoto lens. Now, one thing that could change this year is that the smaller Pro model will get the same camera module as the 13 Pro Max, which would mean it would be getting features like the 2.5 times zoom, which just slightly extended the zoom range on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, thanks to its 65mm focal length, and it will also include the wide lens with sensor shift stabilization, as well as a bigger overall sensor for better low light photos. Again, the current rumors seem to indicate that we are expecting that for both Pro models this year. The Pro models might also have an upgraded ultra-wide-angle camera this year, and it might go from an f2.4 aperture to an f1.8 aperture with autofocus and a 6-element lens as opposed to a 5-element lens. Of course, like almost any iPhone release nowadays, there should just be some general camera improvements overall to both the regular and the Pro models, and we could even see some improvements in Apple's computational photography thanks to the A15 chip. This could include the new rumored astrophotography mode for better pictures of the night sky, as well as maybe some exclusive video modes coming to the Pro models with the LiDAR scanner, and some of those rumors are saying that Apple is trying to make portrait video mode, which would blur out the background in videos just like it does with portrait mode in still photos. Both iPhone models right now are rumored to have a different front design this year, and that would include a smaller size notch, with the earpiece being moved upwards into the phone's frame, and the notch only being made up of the sensors that are required for Face ID. So if you look at the current iPhone 12 model, remove that earpiece, and you can kind of get a good idea of how small this notch is going to be, supposedly on the new iPhone 13. As for the display, we have heard heard a lot of supply chain reports and rumors saying that Apple will indeed be using LTPO panels from Samsung for at least some of the iPhone 13 models. These LTPO displays would enable a big requested feature, a faster 120Hz display that would double the iPhone screen refresh rate and make everything you do on your device look smoother, like scrolling, app animations, and possibly even smoother gameplay with games that can go above 60 frames per second. Another side feature because of the LTPO display is that Apple can now lower the refresh rate all the way down to 1 Hz, which is the technique they use on the Apple Watch to give it an always-on display. And they could also be using this same technique for the iPhone 13 models with that LTPO display to show you an always-on display. And that could show persistent things on the display like time, date, weather, notifications, and so on. Now, the only real question regarding these faster refresh rate LTPO displays is if Apple will be putting them into all of the iPhone 13 models, or if they will reserve the faster refresh rate for the more expensive Pro models. I think most of the rumors right now point to this being an exclusive feature on the Pro iPhone 13 models, at least for this year. And it makes sense, especially if Apple chooses to use the same branding that they have for the faster refresh rate displays that are already on the iPad Pros. They call them a Pro Motion display. So it would make sense to have that faster 120Hz refresh rate make its way to the iPhone 13 Pro first, and then, the consumer level products like the regular iPhone 13 and, tablets like the iPad Air, those would have the standard 60 Hz display. So if Apple is going to be consistent with that branding, in all likelihood, the 120 Hz, Pro Motion display is gonna be exclusive to the Pro models. Now, another addition for this year's iPhone 13 is going to supposedly be larger batteries in every model. I think this will make the biggest difference in the mini model, where battery life was always just a little bit too weak. So even if Apple can help eke out like an extra hour of battery life capacity, maybe due to the increased battery size and then maybe some efficiency gains through the A15 chip, I think that would be enough for the small but mighty iPhone 13 mini. And, I think that would solve most of my battery life complaints with that model. But then it's just icing on top for all of the other iPhone models out there, especially the Pro Max, which, the 12 Pro Max already has great battery life, but adding even more on top of that, no one's going to complain about that. Speaking of that A15 chip, this is another upgrade that is pretty much a given on the iPhone 13 and should feature faster performance with probably a 15 to 20% performance increase. But it will also, like I mentioned before in the camera section, power new areas like better computational photography and increased artificial intelligence features. Speaking of intelligent features, well, there's nothing more intelligent than making sure your privacy is protected, especially with online transactions with Privacy.com. Privacy lets you buy things online with virtual cards protecting your identity and bank information with creating a completely unique virtual card numbers. And this keeps your most sensitive and personal information, your literal bank account, free from prying eyes and never having to worry about giving out your bank information online, because with privacy you can control who can charge your card and even set limits for how often they can charge your card for things like monthly subscriptions, and even decide the exact amount of how much they can charge you so you are never overbilled or double charged for a service ever again. Privacy can also generate merchant card types that can be used again and again at your favorite online retailers, or single-use card options that can be used only once for that specific transaction, making sure that security breaches never put your personal banking information at risk. Best of all, you can try Privacy.com right now and get $5 just by being a Greg's Gadgets viewer by signing up through my link, privacy.com/Greg'sGadgets, or clicking the link in the description below. So make sure you check out privacy.com, secure your banking information, and thank you so much to privacy.com for sponsoring this video. Now, there are a few more things I wanted to touch on before we end this video, and namely, we talked about a lot of what we should expect, but there's also a few things we shouldn't expect for this year's iPhone 13 model, and what's not to be expected can be just as important. Now, the first one breaks my heart because for so long I've been talking about this feature, and to be fair, it was in the rumors and leaks for like the past 7 months, is that Touch ID would be returning to the iPhone 13 and be implemented under the display. Well, unfortunately, we are now hearing conflicting reports from Mark Gurman just a month out from when the iPhone 13 would be launching, and it looks like Touch ID will not be returning under the display or even in the power button. For whatever reason, Apple apparently decided not to include the dual authentication methods on this year's iPhone 13, and I think a lot of people are really going to be upset with this last-minute change. Another thing this iPhone 13 won't have, and this really shouldn't surprise any of you, but people like to bring it up every year, is a USB-C port. Like, every year, it seems there's at least one person talking about the idea of Apple getting rid of the Lightning port and bringing over USB-C, but that's just a lot of wishful thinking, and for this year's iPhone 13 lineup, it is still going to have a Lightning port, and currently, there are no rumors or leaks or I guess even plans to bring over USB-C to the iPhone, with most leaks and rumors saying that Apple is actually looking to get rid of ports entirely and introduce a portless iPhone. And you might have heard about that because early rumors also indicated that 2021 might be the first year for a true portless iPhone model. And although that was rumored, that is something that is not expected to ship on any of the iPhone 13 models, so we still have at least another year with the trusty old reliable Lightning port. Okay, as for when you can get the iPhone 13, well, if you've been paying attention, all eyes are on Apple's usual September event, where we should see all iPhone 13 models shown off this year, and we shouldn't see a staggered release like we encountered last year with the iPhone 12, where the Mini and Pro Max shipped later than the two 6.1-inch models, and they shipped all the way in November. So in September, you should be able to pre-order any 4 sizes of the new iPhone model. And as for the price, well, there are no rumors, indicating any sort of price changes. So I think the iPhone 13 mini will still start at $699, the iPhone 13 at $799, the iPhone 13 Pro at $999, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max at $1,099. But all right, everyone, so far that is a preview of the iPhone 13 and everything that I know about it so far. And overall, while I think most people are going to call this an S-year style upgrade, going through the list of upgrades like a faster refresh rate display, maybe an always-on display, some camera improvements and features, bigger batteries, and a smaller notch, I think people are actually going to be surprised with how many small improvements add up to a much better product than they were expecting, similar to how a lot of those small changes made the iPhone 7 a pretty standout phone in Apple's lineup. But let me know in the comments below. Do you think the rumored iPhone 13 features are exciting? What feature are you most excited for? And what do you think your biggest disappointment is going to be when Apple finally announces these things? And let me know, do you plan on upgrading this year to an iPhone 13, or are you waiting for an iPhone 14? As always, if you like the video, be sure to leave me a like. If you want to see more from the channel, make sure you're subscribed. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.